How are things in Ukraine for those talented newbies in fashion design? How do future designers of Ukrainian fashion make their way? Where can we buy their clothes, and how come the young and promising are getting more and more fans? Great and iconic designers also began with something. You'd be surprised, but the famous Ralph Lauren sold his ties to one of the famous department stores in the USA at the beginning of his career. Christian Dior, the fashion maestro, was just an absentee at the Free School of Political Science, and it was only then he became a famous fashion designer. And what's the situation in Ukraine with young designers? Ukraine gives the world a sufficient number of interesting names, many of whom eventually go on to establish their own brands.
I move with the leaves.
I glow like the crown.
There is currently a boom in clothing from domestic designers in Ukraine, including things from young masters. Alexandra Kakurina, head of the Department for Work with Designers in Ukrainian Fashion Week, says the main thing in the work of any designer is to create a concept which will make it become recognizable. Beginner couturiers know all about this and try to find their own style. I create clothes for people who feel themselves and want to do as they wish. The slogan of my brand is Fashion in Sensations. That is, when you put on an item of clothing and become yourself. I make one collection every 3 months. First and foremost, I sew clothes for people who work in business people. An interesting fact is that young designers, in some strange way, feel modern trends and often work on a common concept. All designers have a certain special feeling. Many designers are currently paying a lot of attention to ecology. Here's the last concept, the ecology of the waters of the world's ocean, and they can coincide with each other without even communicating. Some designers have paid attention to the world ocean theme this season. But why? What do promising designers strive for? What makes them anxious? Does the information space even affect the artists of the fashion world? The main trend they're striving for is a response to the world. Those designers who have Napoleonic plans know exactly what is in demand now and are ready to demonstrate quality products to the consumer. I want my clothes to be sold all over the world. Young Ukrainian masters are gaining momentum and are not about to give way to their more experienced colleagues in conquering the world of fashion. Still, is it possible to spot the difference between a beginner and a venerable master in a cut or in a concept? I was in Milan recently at the national team show. I think I managed to spot who the beginners were among them. they're not yet able to skillfully convey their concept?
Передают свою концепцию.
And what if there's a collection from Lilia Mikitiak in front of you? Many stylists say that this designer really loves women and tries not only to make women beautiful, but to give them comfort and convenience.
Коли в цьому одягаєш цей одяг,
When you adorn these clothes, it seems that the whole world can wait because you are deepened into your tactile sensations, as the clothes are very tactile. It's nice to be in them. I pay lots of attention to the quality of things, the material. I really don't like it when clothes are poorly sewn and in an ugly manner.
Дуже велику увагу я звертаю на якість речей. Дуже не люблю, коли вони страшно негарно пошиті.
Whatever you say, designer clothes mean, above all else, quality. So a new generation of fashion designers is seeking to create not just something that's unique, but also top quality. They face many difficulties on the path to such accomplishments. The organizers of such shows also talk about the problems in this sphere. The lack of a team led by a PR manager, modest startup capital, and ignorance of all the subtleties of the fashion industry, all of this could frighten young talent, but these guys are persistent.
Да, со всеми подряд трудностями.
Of course, a young designer can face all the difficulties, from creating a brand name, logo, and choosing a contractor.
Подрядчиков.
And how to enter the fashion market is one more thing that a young designer may face. Svetlana Anisimova is a bright example of a young, promising Ukrainian couturier. Everything started as a hobby, with the realization of a childhood dream. A sufficient time, stubbornness, and inspiration do their work. This year, Svetlana took first place in a Young Designers competition and now plans to go further by showing her collection at Ukrainian Fashion Week. I've been working in the world of fashion for 2 years now. The world of fashion is an outlet for me.
У меня еще маленький сын, поэтому я стараюсь комбинировать все вместе. Ну да, в дневное время, в
I work in an office in the daytime and weekdays, but in the evening I dedicate myself to my hobby and of course my son. I'd love to conquer the Ukrainian market first and foremost before entering foreign markets.
Потому что перед тем, как выходить за рубеж, нужно понимать
You need to understand what the women of the country you live in want.
страны, в которой ты живешь.
New Fashion Zone, the program new names as part of Ukrainian Fashion Week, shows held in the regions in the framework of the Fashion Days program, are a great opportunity to show yourself in full voice and to the whole of Ukraine.
Мы получили 380 заявок на участие в конкурсе, и при этом я могу...
This year we received 380 applications to take part in the competition, and I should add, we don't advertise. We selected 82 participants for casting, and these 82 participants showed 2 models each.
К финалу уже доходит там 34, 36, вот в среднем так.
Ukraine's designer ranks are replenished by around 30 new names every year. Could it be that this demand generates supply? Then the question arises, are the collections of young designers easy to sell? Fashion demands a lot, but gives little. Nevertheless, almost everyone says that they find their clients because the price and policy of brands that are developing is much lower compared to promoted ones. Any designer clothes in any nomination should sell. Talented designers are successful on the sales market too, and they express special gratitude to means provided by the internet. Now you can find us on social networks, Instagram. We're working on our site. We're planning to open our store now. We've got an idea. It'll be something incredible. And some promising couturiers can afford to leave the collection in their workshop. This collection is not for sale. My soul, my inspiration and emotions, which I had at that time, are in this collection. I must admit that this 20-year-old designer will give many eminent masters a good run for their money. Theaters and major film companies are ready to compete for his Eternal Rays of Light collection.
У нас есть один участник.
We have Jan Stepanenko, who really created a sensation.
Хороший фурор. Но
But behind all this applause, plots, interviews, all that he has right now is 7 months of sleepless nights.
интервью, то, что он имеет сейчас, это 7 месяцев бессонных ночей.
This success being enjoyed by young designers is explained by several things. First, as we have said, there's great demand for unique Ukrainian things. Second, a great desire and enthusiasm to create clothes for Ukrainians. Also, the help of the team. Almost all young designers agree with the need to have responsible people nearby. A lone designer is not a successful designer. I have a grandmother who was a designer in the Soviet Union. She knows lots of stuff, and she's my right hand in everything. I have a designer. There are seamstresses. I don't sew.
Наприклад, сестра, вона
My sister, for example, is engaged in logistics.
логістикою дуже чесно, наприклад,
At the same time, she paints what we make using our technology. When we apply plants to the fabric and get unique patterns.
полотнища, і тоді отримують такі унікальні малюнки.
Young designers stand out with their burning eyes and unshakable faith in their own strengths. It takes quite a bit of time to pass, and once beginner designers give advice to the future generation of Ukrainian couturiers. I would like to wish young designers to follow their dreams and to create and not stop creating. With every passing year, Ukraine becomes more and more fashionable. The international catwalk is conquered by an increasing number of Ukrainian designers. But we don't need to worry that Ukrainian shows are becoming less interesting. New names appear, original collections are being created, and Ukrainian fashion is full of lush, bright colors in the clothes of young and promising fashion designers. Every designer shows one's own style, a personal concept, and his or her own vision of the world. At the same time, the mission of fashion was long ago defined: to make the world a more beautiful place. And the greater the number of young designers out there, the greater the chances the world will have.